Hi guys, in this video I'm going to be talking about how to build Milio. So Milio has a couple of summoner spell options. I think his best choice is heal since it's good for bot lane and it scales better on the support than the AD since you typically buy heal increasing items and you take revitalize. But if your ADC takes heal, here are some other options. You can take exhaust if the enemy team has burst divers like Zed or Cannon. Or you can go barrier against kill lanes for that extra survivability. All right, so I'm going to start talking about the starting items. So Milio is going to want to start the ranged AP support item, Spell Thief's Edge. Something to note is that Milio can stack this item extra quickly by trading with E auto. Since his passive burn also counts as a stack as well, you actually can get 60 gold reliably in a trade, which is really nice. For first space on Milio, you typically want to rush Lucidity Boots. Lucidity Boots is just a really good item right now. It gives you lots of ability haste, MS, and summoner spell reduction for a cheap price. That's why a lot of enchanters are rushing this item. Milio also has decent skirmish and roam capability with his Q and E. So it's not like a Sono, for example, who has low early skirmishing power and doesn't really like to roam. If you don't think roams will be successful in the game though and want to just stay in lane, you should just rush mythic components like Kindle Gem if you want to be more tanky, or Bandle Glass Mirror if you are bowling lane. For Mythic Milio, you're going to want to either go Australia's or Moonstone depending on the game. I think both are very good mythics on him. I project Milio to have two different playstyles. One is going to be the Emax playstyle with Australia's. Typically, if he has a carry that doesn't need the extra range from W, you can just play with the constant MS buffs and passive pokes. Also, Milio can charge 2 stacks of E, so anytime you have 2 Emax stacked shields up, like it's almost impossible to lose a trade. The second style of Milio is the W Max, where you just place the W on a long range hyper carry like Kog'Maw or Twitch and let them hit from a long range. W also refreshes every 0.24 seconds, so it's constantly refreshing Moonstone and giving insane healing. Just broadly speaking, Shreya's is usually a better item for enabling your team for engages, whereas Moonstone is typically better for longer drawn out fights where the sustain is the difference maker. All right, now let's talk about mid to late game items. Since Milio has multiple AoE heals with his W and his ulti, and also has shields, he is a very good champion for building enchanter items such as Ardent Censer and Staff of Flowing Water. You want to build Ardent Censer with mostly 80 and auto-attacking items, 80 and auto-attacking teams. Or if you just have this one super fed hyper carry 80 that you want to buff up. Alternatively, you build Staff of Flowing Water with mostly AP teams. It also gives benefits to Milio himself because he likes ability haste and AP. Don't feel too bad to build both because these are two very good items on him if the game calls for both. All right. The next two items are just two generically good items, so I'm going to give them a mention. Redemption is a good cheap item for stacking the heal and shield power on Milio, and it's just like an impactful active as well to turn around team fights. And Watchful Wardstone is always good after level 13. It gives a lot of stats and extra ward slots for only 1100 gold. Now we're going to talk about max order. So Milio typically skills E or Q first, depending on the matchup. You want to start E in lanes that outrange you and win trades with E auto passive. And start Q against lanes you bully level 1, like melee supports, since you can interrupt their engage with Q. Then I usually take 2 to 3 points in Q for bullying lane before maxing E or W. Yeah, these are the two different playstyles that I mentioned before, but I want to talk about it slightly again. The Emax build with Trellis is overall good in most cases because of the constant MS buffs, whereas the WMAX Moonstone is more specifically for hyper carries like Kog'Maw that can use the extra % range increase well. All right, now let's talk about the runes. So on Milio, I like to take 2 AP shards because Milio has AP ratios on all his spells and passive, and can be a pretty big lane bully. The primary keystone option for Milio is going to be Airy, because his auto attacks are very fluid and part of his trading pattern, as well as him being able to store 2 charges of the shield to proc Airy as well. It just feels really good on him. Mana flow band is just nice if your champion has any kind of mana problems at all. And then Celerity is good on Milio because it stacks with his E movement speed. And Scorch, if your games are going short, then Scorch is better. And if it's more longer, then Gathering Storm is better. I think it depends on elo and also matchup. For secondary tree, I really like Revitalize on Milio because a lot of his kit is healing and shielding. And besides Revitalize, you can take Bone Plating, you can take Conditioning. Bone Plating against all-in, Conditioning if you're just planning on farming. Shield Bash is not even that bad if you're doing the Emax build, because you can just do Shield Auto with Shield Bash into another Shield, since you can store 2 charges into another Shield Bash. It's not a bad option on him as well. I think these choices are a bit more negligible, so yeah, just Revitalize is important. But I think it's always worth mentioning Inspiration, just because the free boots is really nice, and you can go either Biscuits, or if you have mana problems, or Cosmic Insight for the Summoner spell haste. This is okay too, especially if you're not planning on roaming. I think the Revitalize is a little bit better though. I always get good value out of that rune on Milio. Alright, well, I hope this video was helpful for you guys to determine your Milio build. And yeah, I look forward to seeing everyone playing Milio and ranked. Bye bye.